Why is it that we can be the most professional, composed people in the office, yet the moment we walk through our front door and see a toddler refusing to put on their shoes, we lose it? Why does it feel like you're speaking a completely different language than your child? Most parents believe that when their toddler ignores them, it's a choice, a form of defiance. But what if I told you it's actually physically impossible for them to listen to you sometimes? Today on Parenting Advice Daily, we're breaking down the 9 rules for a calmer, easier life with no more yelling. This isn't just about being patient. It's about understanding the biological blueprint of your child's brain. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Most of us were raised with the idea that if a child doesn't listen, they're being bad. We think they're testing us or trying to win a power struggle. So we raise our voice. We repeat ourselves 5, 10, 15 times until we're screaming. But here's the reality. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, impulse control, and following complex directions, isn't fully developed until the mid-20s. In a toddler, it's barely online. When they ignore you, they aren't being naughty. They are likely experiencing selective attention, which is a survival mechanism for their developing brain to focus on one thing at a time. If they are playing with a truck, they literally, physically, do not register your voice from across the room. Experts at Harvard's Center on the Developing Child have shown that the serve and return interaction is the most critical part of brain development. But when we yell, we trigger the amygdala, the fear center. Once that's triggered, the learning part of the brain shuts down. So, if you yell to get them to learn a lesson, you are actually making it biologically impossible for them to learn. To change the behavior, we have to change the framework. Let's dive into rule number 1, and it's a game changer. Rule 1, get low and close. Never shout a direction from another room. If you want them to follow a direction, you must walk over, get down on their eye level, and wait for them to look at you. This establishes connection before direction. Rule 2, the 5-second rule. After you give a direction, count to 5 in your head. Toddlers have a significant processing lag. It takes their brain much longer to translate your words into physical action. If you repeat yourself before that 5 seconds is up, you've just interrupted their processing, and they have to start all over again. Rule 3, use affirmative language. The toddler brain struggles to process negatives. If you say, "Don't run," their brain hears, "Run," then has to work extra hard to add the "don't" on top of it. Instead, tell them exactly what to do. Say, "Use walking feet." It's a direct, positive map for their brain to follow. Now, let's talk about Rule 4, which involves that one word I mentioned earlier. Stop asking why. Why did you hit? Why did you pour that out? A toddler does not know why. Their logical brain wasn't involved in the impulse. Asking why forces them to enter a state of confusion, which leads to frustration, which leads to them asking you the same question 10 more times because they are stuck in a loop. Replace why with, "I see. I see you're frustrated." It grounds them in reality. Rule 5. Handling the full-blown tantrum. This is where most parents fail because we try to reason with a child whose upstairs brain is completely disconnected. When the lid is flipped, logic is gone. Reasoning with a screaming toddler is like trying to teach a drowning person how to swim while they're still in the water. Your only job in a tantrum is to be the calm anchor. Keep them safe, stay close, and wait for the storm to pass. Reasoning comes much, much later. Rule 6, the one and done rule. If you repeat yourself, you are training your child to ignore the first 4 times you speak. You are essentially saying, "Don't worry, I'll say this 4 more times, and each time I'll get louder, so you don't really have to listen until I'm red in the face." Instead, say it once, check for understanding, and if they don't move, use gentle physical guidance. Walk over, take their hand, and help them do the task. No yelling, just action. Rule 7. Use visual cues. Toddlers are visual learners. Instead of nagging about shoes, point to the shoes. Use a picture schedule. It takes the power struggle out of the equation. It's not you bossing them around. It's just what the schedule says. Rule 8. Validate the emotion, but hold the boundary. You can say, "It's okay to be sad that we're leaving the park, and it's still time to go." You aren't arguing about the feelings. You're just stating the fact. And finally, Rule 9. Predictability is safety. A child who knows what's coming next is a child who doesn't need to fight for control. Routines reduce the cognitive load on their brain, leaving them with more energy to actually cooperate. Let's look at a quick case study. Sarah, a mother of a 3-year-old, was at her wit's end with morning routines. It was a cycle of, "Put your shoes on," "I said, put your shoes on," and then yelling. She implemented the get low and visual cue rules. Instead of shouting from the kitchen, she walked over, put her hand on her daughter's shoulder, and pointed to a picture of shoes on a chart. The first day, it took longer, but by day 5, the yelling had stopped. The daughter started looking for the visual cue herself. Why? Because Sarah stopped being the opponent and started being the guide. If you want to start this today, I have a roadmap for you. For the next 48 hours, focus only on Rule 1 and Rule 2. Just get low and give them 5 seconds to process. Don't worry about the rest yet. You'll notice, almost immediately, that your own heart rate stays lower. You aren't revving yourself up by repeating the same sentence like a broken record. You are rewiring your own response, just as much as you are helping them. You might find that you actually enjoy your time together more. The house feels quieter, not because the kids are silent, but because the frequency of the communication has changed. You are moving from a control mindset to a connection mindset, and that is where the peace lives. To wrap up, remember, it's not defiance, it's development. Stop the why, start the I see. Give them 5 seconds to think, and never, ever yell from another room. If you want a deeper dive into these strategies, I've put a Calm Parent checklist in the show notes below. It's a simple 1-page PDF you can stick on your fridge to remind you of these rules when things get heated. I want to hear from you. Which of these 9 rules is the hardest for you to follow? Leave a comment. I read every single one, and I'll be answering your questions throughout the week. In our next episode, we're talking about the sleep solution and why your toddler's bedtime routine might be working against their biology. I'm Jessica, and this is Parenting Advice Daily. See you next time.